Okay. So, hi, Mira. I'm now professor of political science at Carleton University. Thanks very much for spending a few minutes with me today.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Peter.
Mira, you're bringing a film to Carleton University. It's called Israelism. It's a film that probes a little bit the kind of debate that's going on amongst American Jews, their attitudes towards Israel. Can you tell us a little bit about the film?
Yeah, I mean, we can start with the title, which I think is really smart and really brings home what the idea is here. So rather than calling it Zionism or rather than calling it love for Israel, it's calling it Israelism, which is, I think, when you watch the film, you'll see it's trying to capture a certain set of attitudes about Israel, right or wrong, support for Israel at all costs. And so it really taps into an important part of the policy debate when it comes to American or Canadian policy towards Israel-Palestine. It's important to look at interest groups and the kinds of community messages that filter up to voters, to more formal, ranging from everyday voters to informal action groups to more formal interest groups. Of course, in the United States, we know that the most formal interest group when it comes to policy is APAC on one side and J Street a
Right.
little bit on the other, much smaller in scale, of course.
Does the film take a position? Is the film it's talking about a debate in which some people are defensive of Israel, some are critical of Israel. Does the film itself have a position? Does it articulate a position or lead viewers to having a position or not?
I think the film makes quite clear that a lot of the issues facing Israelis and Palestinians today are derived from the occupation, first and foremost, and the kind of support that American foreign policy structures provide Israel that needs to, whereby that support should be linked to pressuring Israel to end the occupation.
Hmm. Okay. The film it's a new film. It came out earlier this year. It has been traveling around the United States, a number of film festivals, including a number of Jewish film festivals. What and apparently I see that it's got a couple of awards. What kind of reception has it had that you can share with us?
Well, we can see some of the media coverage has revealed that when it was screened at the Israel Studies Center at UCLA, there was a great opposition to it. There was a harsh response from some in the, probably, I would assume, the Los Angeles community. I don't know how much of it was linked to direct donors to the center, but it caused a stir. And I think the point is to get conversations going. I mean, one challenge in screening it in a place like Ottawa, where the Jewish community is relatively smaller, and particularly screening it at a place like Carleton University, where we don't have an Israel Studies Center, we don't have a Palestinian Studies Center. This is being screened by the Department of Political Science. Is that what is probably intended to be more of an internal Jewish conversation is now being broadcast outwardly, and there are some people who won't be comfortable with that. And so, what we're going to be trying to do in the Department of Political Science is really think about this as a case of how interest groups shape foreign policy, and more so, what really interests me as a scholar of political science and a scholar of Israel Palestine is looking at how ideas percolate within certain communal groups, and how agents for change, or we could say moral entrepreneurs in the political science discourse, how agents for change attempt to shift views within those communities. So one of the people that's profiled might be familiar to you, Peter. Her name is Simone Zimmerman, and she was brought on as a Jewish community liaison onto Bernie Sanders'
That's
presidential
that name,
campaign.
yeah.
Yeah, and then when an old tweet of hers criticizing Bibi Netanyahu, using harsh words, using swear words, as we might say, was unearthed, she was promptly fired. So this is a person who's attempted to make change and has gone on later, after working for the Sanders campaign very briefly, has gone on to try to make change. So it isn't, certainly we're not trying to say that all communities, when they get together, are nefarious. Not at all. We're looking at the ideas that circulate within communities and how some individuals and subgroups try to shift those views.
Mhm. I see that after the film showing, there's going to be a bit of a discussion period with the Is it the director of the film and yourself? Is that correct?
In this case, we're bringing the producer, one of the producers up, Gilly
Right.
Getz, who's a prominent activist in North America in his own right. And I'll be in dialogue with Gilly. And I have a couple of quibbles about the film, though I generally find it quite remarkable and an impressive film, and I generally agree with the message. Though I have a couple of quibbles, and Gilly and I will discuss those, no doubt, along with all sorts of questions that the audience brings, I hope.
Do you expect that to be raucous? I mean, do you expect fiery condemnations, or how do you imagine the discussions going to unfold at Carleton University?
I hope that it's passionate. I hope that it's informed. I want people to care. I want people to be interested. We can try to leave the fire at the door, but you never know. And
Right.
I'm pretty used to helping channel people's
Sure.
emotions into more productive or into productive lines of conversation. I hope I'll do that that night.
Well, Mira, I plan to attend myself, and I hope you get a good crowd and a good discussion. And thanks very much for giving us a little bit of insight into the film today.
Looking forward to seeing you there, Peter. Thank you.
Bye bye.